From the moment human beings were able to distinguish past from present, the scientific art of predicting the future has been an all-consuming passion. For all but a few, lack of vision is their legacy.
Well, I think technology is, like any human activity, going to have consequences.
Sometimes I think technology has improved our lives, and sometimes I have my questions.
The sun-bleached bones of prophets, seers, and soothsayers litter the landscape of history.
Just imagine the New York of 1980, when everyone has a number instead of a name.
Hello, LN18. How are you, darling?
Hello, J21.
And the government tells you whom you should marry. Just imagine 1980.
The future is always better. That seems to be the Western vision of tomorrow, particularly in the last century, and perhaps Americans state this more extremely, that if we have poverty, if we have sectional rivalry north and south, if we have conflict within the family, this will all disappear tomorrow.
Here is a highway intersection. Highway engineering at its most spectacular. Traffic may move safely and easily without loss of speed. Safe distance between cars is maintained by automatic radio control. Curved sides assist the driver in keeping his car within the proper lane under all circumstances.
Portent can be found almost everywhere. The stars, the Bible, night visions imbued with illusions of things to come.
People predicted that the airplane, for example, would end sectional, even international rivalries because it would bring the world together.
Do you realize the immense task we shall undertake when we direct our energies to tear out the wealth of this planet and exploit all these giant possibilities of science that have been squandered hitherto upon war and senseless competition?
But as to why we think it's a panacea, why we expect technology to save us, I think it's because we're in the habit of looking for something external to save us. So it can be the teachings of a guru, it can be the philosophy or the ideology of a political leader, but we seem to have a weakness for final answers.
From now on, I don't think there'll be the slightest trouble with your robot. Your domestic problems are completely solved.
Rollo, answer the door.
Yes, ma'am.
Sign here.
For every new technology, an often unintentional price must be paid, whether in the unwanted byproducts produced or in what choices are made about their eventual use.
One thing they overlook is that a new technology is not going to be used exactly the way it seems to, it might be used to the inventor.
Telephone TV, with callers able to see as well as hear, may soon be a recognized reality.
No one in the 1880s would have dreamed that telephones would be used for phone sex. So another way of getting it wrong is not just to misunderstand human nature in the future, but to misunderstand how human relationships would change, because that will then change the use of technology and the way we even think of technology.
War has been the springboard for much of man's technological advancements. The ability to split the atom unleashed the power to destroy on a level that was previously unimaginable.
After the war, the amount of prediction about a nuclear-powered future is just amazing.
Because here, in fact, is the answer to a dream as old as man himself, a giant of limitless power at man's command. And where was it science found that giant? In the atom.
My favorite is perhaps the prophet who claimed that nuclear-powered washing machines would probably within a decade be in every person's home. And I think what you see here is a fundamental lack of understanding about these technologies, which is perhaps characteristic of a lot of popular prediction of the future.
The kitchen of tomorrow is calling me. But this was a kitchen like none I've seen. Put a card in the slot, and onto the screen pops a picture of just how your dish will look, plus all the ingredients you need to cook.
Electricity and technology promise a life without worry. The focal point, a kitchen that virtually runs itself. A housewife and mother free from the drudgery of housework.
In the last 5 to 10 years, one can see a new trend in thinking about the home of the future. A cynic might say, well, what home of the future? Who's going to be able to afford a home? That's certainly an issue that's being raised with a new force and poignancy in the United States. But the home of tomorrow, such as people saw in 1933, that kind of home obviously is not going to work for a resource-short world in which families are perhaps single persons.
Wait a minute. What's going on there?
We've been married a year now, dear. You think we can have fun?
I think so, darling. What do you want, a boy or a girl?
A boy.
Give me the good old days.
Certainly, technology will not disappear. Neither is it something that can be ignored. The question must be asked whether those who create the technology control it, or is it the other way around?
The relationship we have to technology has changed, I think, dramatically in the last 20 or 25 years. The phrase that someone reported seeing scrawled on a California men's room, a bit of graffiti that said in the early 1970s, "The future ain't what it used to be."
More technology by itself isn't going to save us. We can see right now that it's the attitudes of the people who are doing the polluting, the attitudes of the people who are selling and manufacturing the weapons and so on, that's the real problem. So at this point, it is really only our highest good sense, our idealism, that is the new common sense that's going to save us.
Historians have observed that attempts to forecast what will happen tomorrow inevitably project the values of the past and present into an idealized future. More to the point, it is almost impossible to predict what values and ethics or what systems of belief future generations may hold. The key to the future lies in what truths will be self-evident. Even so, this need to envision the world as it may be is inherent in the nature of the beast.